Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:18. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I'm so sorry that we were late with all the retirees here today. Our executive session ran late, so I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so is there a motion to seal the executive session minutes from tonight?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. And we did approve 2 homeschooling requests, and those were approved 5-0. It's now time for open forum. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay, so we are moving on to the best part. So we are very, very excited that people took the time to come tonight, and I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Cummings to do some introductions.
Great, thank you. Well, tonight is a bittersweet night because we have so much collective care and knowledge for the children of Narragansett sitting with us tonight, and so many years of experience that have really spanned from all the way from people who have worked in preschool through our seniors. And so we're going to have each principal come up and say a few words about each retiree. And I know you all will say a few words at the end. I just also want to express my gratitude for the many years of service that everyone has had here, and it's our loss, and I am extremely jealous. And so with that, I will ask Lisa to come up and get us going.
We have 5 staff members retiring from Narragansett Elementary School. I'm going to talk first about 2 that were unable to be here tonight, but I just want to give a quick shout out to them because they have dedicated so many years and service. Both Joe and Donna Burgess could not be here. They are playing the role of grandparents waiting for their 3rd grandchild, so they had to be there for that. They are a retiring couple who have spent many years working for the Narragansett school system, most of it at the elementary school. Joe's been a custodian since 1997, sweeping, mopping, and cleaning up after countless spills of varied sorts. Donna also has worked for Narragansett school system. She started in 1994. She's a beloved TA who really comes to work for the kids. She often refers to them as her kids and has spent countless hours from pre-K to 4 as a teaching assistant, and they will both be missed greatly. I have a teacher assistant, Corinne Adams, here. Corinne, could you come on up? To be recognized. Corinne has spent many years as a teacher assistant, mostly at NES. She began as a substitute in 1999. She's been a one-on-one classroom TA in several grades, but has spent most of her time in preschool. For those of you that know Corinne, she brings her art degree into every TA position she has held. It is not uncommon to see Corinne's talents as part of her daily life in preschool. Her passion for art is clear. Students often ask her to draw them the following: everything, dogs, cats, lobsters, spiders, birds, to the more intricate designs of castles, fairies, etc. Corinne spends a lot of her time engaging students in her passion for Halloween and Harry Potter, bringing trinkets, puppets, and other treasures to entice and excite the students in school.
I didn't think you knew that.
I know everything, Corinne. Her surprises and imagination will be missed at NES, and there is no doubt that there will be Corinne stories among the staff and students for many years to come. Corinne, we will miss you.
That was so sweet. Thank you.
And here's a little gift. Now here's for a biggie. Joanne, would you like to come up, please? She hates this. This is Joanne Morrissey. For those of you that don't know her, she has spent her career in Narragansett school system. In 1982, she applied for her first teaching position of many. Her application stated that she could sing, she could teach penmanship, art, sewing, dramatics, baseball, track, and playground activities. She came with superior marks from her college professors and noted to be superb in classroom management. She began as a part-time math remedial teacher, and the committee citing her outstanding student teaching, noting her student-teacher rapport, and her good professional appearance. From this first appointment on, Joanne has been in many positions and worked with hundreds of students. She's been a special educator, and the majority of her years, she's been a third-grade teacher. She has committed to the Narragansett school system community, serving on many committees and been part of district union leadership. She has many accolades from parents noting her dedication and commitment to their children. And for her dedication and commitment to being a teacher at NES, Joanne still holds many of those same qualities she began her career with, still dressing the part, good professional appearance, as well as teaching penmanship, sewing, dramatics, and playground games. Additionally, she makes sure the students leave with a strong academic foundation. Not all fun and games. Learning is important. She teaches them with the lens of lifelong learning as a goal, never done learning. What we know most about Joanne is that that she will get all of her students ready for the next grade level and for life. I can say that she's touched many students' lives, and they take with them all of her teachings on how to be a responsible student and person. She has earned and deserved her retirement, and we wish her well. We also have Gloria Fontaine, which Jill is going to celebrate.
All right. Oh, I should have made this bigger. Okay. Thank you. Good evening. I'm here tonight to celebrate Gloria Fontaine and her wonderful career in Narragansett. Gloria is retiring after 16 years of working as the occupational therapist in Narragansett Elementary School. After graduating from Quinnipiac College and working as an OT in other settings in school districts, Gloria joined the NES team in the fall of 2006. Gloria's passion to work as a team member to support students' learning style has been evident at every meeting I've sat alongside with her. During her time in Narragansett Elementary, Gloria has been an integral part of our special education team. For many families, we are the first faces they see and learn to trust in their child's school journey. With this comes the opportunities to celebrate many of the students' successes with the families, and at times share examples of what the student is working towards. For each goal Gloria sets for her students, she explains to family what it looks like both in and out of the classroom. She has provided families with home programs and many, many phone calls, especially during COVID, to support these families and their efforts. Gloria has worked closely with both general and special educators, but especially close with her other service providers in both PT and speech. I can speak for them knowing how much they'll miss working alongside her and her support to some of our neediest students. She has been part of the co-evaluation and co-treating for many of our new preschoolers, coming in even before they turn 3. I have heard from numerous families how well the team has worked together, and know Gloria has been a huge part of that. I've learned quite a bit about OT, and am extremely proud of the special ed team at NES. Lastly, Gloria is a master gardener, and I hope she enjoys many days working in the soil. She is a true environmentalist and has the passion to make this planet a better place. We will all miss Gloria, but wish her all the best in the next phase, or as we say at the beach, the next wave of her life. I hope she enjoys many fun adventures with her husband Mike and son Toby. And Gloria, best of luck. Thank you. And please remember to come by and say hi.
So next, I'd like to invite up Mr. Warner to talk a little bit about our retirees from Narragansett High School.
We know we skipped you, Marianne. It's purposeful.
Thank you very much. I'd first like to call up Sarah Kraus to join us here, please. Sarah Kraus came to Narragansett High School in 1996. After graduating from URI with a BS in secondary science with a minor in chemistry, followed by a master's in natural science from Worcester Polytechnical Institute. She is also magna cum laude with an associate's degree from Johnson & Wales in baking and pastry arts. True. I first met Sarah my very first day at Narragansett, and she was in the hallway with a bunch of her students. She was on a skateboard, she had a crash helmet on, and she was going through the hallway. And so I asked her what she was doing, and she gave me that look, like you all know that look, that I should know what she's doing. She told me she was, hold on. She told me I should know it was Newton's second law of impulse and momentum. So I learned a little bit of physics that day. Sarah's married to Steve Kraus, a scientist from Cranston West. She has 2 children, Emily, who's an attorney in Cleveland after studying at Pepperdine, followed by her law degree from Emory. Rich, her youngest, is a doctor of pharmaceutical sciences after receiving his degree from URI. Baking is one of her passions, and she's also a beekeeper. She coached lacrosse at Narragansett High School for my first ever state championship. She is a national board certified physics teacher, our Ocean Science Bowl teacher, placing first in 2020, but was unable to compete at the national level because of COVID. Her Physics Olympics competition have become a model for physics training and instruction throughout the state. Sarah Kraus is the teacher we wish for our kids. She is fun, compassionate, honest, caring, professional, and a great colleague. It has really been this district's pleasure having her as a scientist at the high school. Let's give it up for Sarah Kraus.
Are we allowed to say anything?
Yes, we hope you will.
Oh, okay. So I have always been really proud to tell people that I teach chemistry and physics at Narragansett High School. Working under Dan for the last however many years, he has been a great leader. He leads with strength, compassion, and humor, sets a tone for the whole building. And I speak for the entire science department and thanking you guys for your generous support over the years, because as a result, we've been able to provide a really authentic and wonderful experience for our students. And it's been a long and rewarding career, and I will leave. Oh dear. With a smile in my heart, so thank you.
Dan, can you make sure the microphone's on? I'm not sure if it is.
Hello?
That's better, thank you.
So Carol, come on up. Carol Morgan started her career helping guide and care for children at Colby College in Waterville, Maine. There she received her BA in history, graduating in 1977, then pursuing a master's degree in elementary ed with a concentration in reading, and then spent time at URI and Rhode Island College in special ed, followed by special ed administration. Carol started at Vocational Resources, and here's an interesting story, which became Goodwill Industries, which was the longest-running continuous rehabilitation agency in the United States. It started as the Irrepressible Society, and it was serving Civil War veterans. She didn't work there then. Carol worked at Goodwill Industries for 19 years before coming to Narragansett High School in 1998. She lives in Slocum, Rhode Island, with her husband Pete and their son Colin. Colin is a graduate of Gettysburg College and received his master's degree from Brown University. Carol is a gardener, specializing in blueberries, and an avid reader. The one thing everyone at Narragansett High School agrees with is that there's never been a person who advocated for kids so strenuously, driven by love and compassion. Carol works tirelessly for kids, not just the students in her charge, but all students, IEPs or not. When you look up the award for the most and bestest dedicated teacher, Carol Morgan is the face of that award. And I want to say to both Carol and Sarah that you both made me a better administrator. And I thank you very much. So let's hear it for Carol Morgan.
So I look pretty good for having started my career in, 1867 with the Irrepressibles. But I just want to say that I was one of those people who always wanted to be a teacher. And I feel really blessed that, my first career at Voc Resources, and we got students from all over the state to work and to start those kids on the road to work. They were mostly kids that the high schools didn't want anymore. So I had that pleasure of working with a really tight-knit group of people, and our mission was to really work and get people to work. So when I came to Narragansett High School, I knew that that was also part of the mission, but I also found a community that was very, very tight-knit, very willing to do whatever they could to help kids succeed. So I started my career in a really close-knit community, working hard. I'm ending my career in a very close-knit community that's very supportive of all kids. And I am leaving the flagship of Narragansett High School. So thank you very much for letting me be a part of this community. I really appreciate it.
And next, I'd like to invite up Mrs. Kirby.
Good evening, everyone. If I could have our PEG Fair up to join me, please. Yesterday was an exciting day at the Peer School. It was Flag Day everywhere else, but it was Salute to PEG Fair Day yesterday at the Peer School. We had the kids wear red, white, and blue. We had a big banner for PEG, and we had little stickers made, and all the kids wore their stickers. And some of the staff got together, and they had kids on the depression sticks. What are they called? Popsicles. No, well, from the actual tongue depressors. Depression sticks. Tongue depressors, and they decorated them for her. So she's got hundreds and hundreds of those, and goodwill wishes from all of the kids. And we had a nice little affair for her yesterday after school. So we had a Salute to PEG Fair Day. But here we are tonight. And as I said yesterday, PEG's connections to Jamestown, to Narragansett go way back, deep, deep, deep. Probably most people in this room. PEG, as a child in New Jersey, would come up and summer at Anawan Cliffs in a family home. And that's, I think, where she fell in love with Rhode Island. And she told me her parents met on Block Island. So this has always been a place of love and happiness for PEG. However, she was a girl from New Jersey.
She got her RN at Holy Name Hospital School of Nursing in Teaneck, New Jersey. She got a BSN from William Patterson University. Caldwell State College, where she got her school nurse certification, and then went on and got later on her master's in health education at Rhode Island College. So she's got many degrees and many hats. She was a staff nurse in many hospitals in New Jersey. A turn for the family with her husband Jack, took the family to Wisconsin for a period of time that Peg would not like to think about. But then they found their way back to Rhode Island. A job opportunity for Jack found them back here in her beloved Rhode Island. Peg was a school nurse in North Providence for a spell and then substituted in Narragansett. And as she told me, she substituted for a week at the Peer School, and she thought, this would be a great job. And sure enough, by 2000, Peg was hired at the Peer School as a school nurse and has served there since at the Peer School. And she is very involved. She is always the last one. Sometimes I'm like, Peg hasn't left yet. She is usually the last one to leave the parking lot, very often staying when kids are in practice, because you can hurt yourself while you're at practice. So she stays well beyond. She takes care of them from the the very morning when everyone arrives until very often the last kid is gone after practice because you need an ice pack or something happens. So she's always there for them. And her commitment to the district is wide. I mean, she is, probably one of the first people on the wellness committee and continue to serve on the wellness committee. She does the CPR AED training. She does first aid training. She does run babysitting training for kids. She was on the H1N1, response team. She's been one of the leaders in the mental health first aid. And as we jokingly tell her, she's got the best EpiPen demonstration ever. But I think we all know that when we got hit with the pandemic, with COVID, is where the work really began. And the school nurses were just, our North Star, taking us through. The amount of information that they had to take in from the state and shift it through and then and support families and comfort families and staff members and administrators with their information. And that information, as we all know, was constantly shifting. And Peg was on top of it all, working really closely with her other school nurses. They've got a great relationship, and I think that really helped the district get through, weather that storm, really as well as we did. But the three things that Peg has always had and really carried us all through that is her calm, her caring, and her compassion. Her caring, as I said earlier, it just never stops. She'll care for the kid who comes in and just isn't feeling well or just simply needs to sleep. But then she also has the other side of the caring when she realizes, why is it that this student always seems to show up during their math class? So she she connects those dots, and she knows these children so well in their 4 years at the Peer School, but also she knows the families. I've heard her on the phone with parents who are nervous, who are anxious, and again, it's that caring and that calm. I think you just having a conversation with Peg, if you're upset, you just immediately, your blood pressure goes down. It just is how she is in the world. And her compassion. She feels for everyone, regardless of who you are and where you're coming from. I know that when staff is going through difficult times, they can lean on her. When families are going through difficult times, they can lean on her. Always reassuring, always guiding them to what's best for themselves and their families. With a twinkle in her eye, she also has a very sharp and quiet wit. You have to kind of lean in to hear it, but it's there. And her observation skills are always, always spot on. She sees everybody for who they are, and she meets them there. And never, ever an unkind word from Peg. She is just the consummate professional. She's all heart, and it's going to be a big loss for the Peer School. So, Peg, I salute you.
I would just like to thank all of you for the opportunity to work for the schools, because it has been my great pleasure. Thank you.
Swag bag. And now, Mrs. Flaherty, Carla Flaherty. Hey, you okay? So Carla is our 5-6 math teacher, grade 5 and grade 6 math teacher. She got a BA in elementary special education from Boston College, where she was also on the swim team, was an All-American and an All-New England swimmer. So she is, by nature, and she even admits it, a competitive person. And she channels that in such healthy, happy ways with kids, which I'll get to a little bit later on. She went to Rhode Island College, got her teacher a certification in special education, and her elementary grades 1 through 6 certification. She taught at the Brantford, Connecticut school system for a bit before landing in Narragansett, but she did move to Rhode Island, and she raised her family here in Rhode Island. She's been in Narragansett for many years. She substituted in Narragansett beginning in 1996, and then in 1999, she was appointed to a special education self-contained grade 6 at MPS, but then moved to grade 5 in she was appointed in July 2000, and that is where her heart has been, in the East Wing, as we call it at the Peer School, the East Wingers. And, you know, it's funny when you go through her file, it's back in the day, it was the layoff and the recall, We all kind of remember those days, the bouncing and the bouncing. But Carla always got called back to that position and always stayed in that position. And she's been there and teaching mathematics consistently. But she's done a lot of other things. She was, homework club, summer school coordinator, after-school math program. She was a program leader. She also ran a student leadership group. She was always, for as many years as I think I've been there, you were heading the food drive. You did a lot of work with the food drive with Peg. Yes, she and Peg do the food drive, and then you kind of really did a lot with students. You really turned it over to a student leadership group in recent years with your 5th and 6th graders, and really distilled in them the importance of leadership and really let them lead. I mean, one of the beauties with Carla as a leader for students is that she turns it over to them and she really nurtures them, and they were making decisions about how to do things. And it really showed. They were just all a little bit taller after they had those meetings with Carla. They just always felt really good about themselves, and they were contributing to the community. The one thing about Carla is she loves data. She digs data. You do. Admit it. She loves hard data. She will crawl into an iReady document in forever. She just wants to know. She wants to know about every kid. She wants to know about every lesson. She wants to know about everything. She just wants to know, and she internalizes, and she looks at it, and she looks at it. But the other thing is, too, she also loves the soft data about kids. She notices them. Is there a rift with families? Do they look particularly tired? Are they distracted? So it's the combination of that hard data that she has in front of her about the kid, but also the soft data, the observational data, that she finds the narrative for each and every kid. And this is where the competitive part of Carla is spectacular, because she is so determined to move that kid to a better place they were than when she first met them, when she first came upon them. And I know that some students over the years have been enigmas for her, and she will stick with it because she knows that she's there to support them and to move them to that next level. And it is her caring. I think she is one of those educators that is that just perfect blend of head and heart. You know, she is an outstanding teacher. She can take very, complex mathematical concepts and bring it down to students so that the aha moments are happening all over the classroom. But then she also understands them as young children and developing children, and she caters to them. So she really is that great balance between head and heart, and that will be she's been a great role model to a lot of younger teachers, and when they see what she does and how she moves through the world. At meetings, she advocates for students. Not only, again, when we get scores, when we get RICAS scores, and we used to get NECAP scores, you would just look at them and just dive right into them. But it was always about, how can we do better? How can we do better for kids? So it will be a great loss. I know she's going to enjoy retirement with Todd. They've got lots of plans. She's got a big family wedding coming up in a week. In a week. Actually, out in Wisconsin. Michigan, okay, Michigan, all right. So I know she's going to have a great retirement as she and Todd travel around and visit family, because their families are scattered all over the country, and they do always love to get together and have wonderful times. So Carla, congratulations, and you will be missed.
Yeah, yes, and I just want to just say a thank you to everybody that's here and everybody that's touched my life, and the collaboration of everybody working together. And so, Corinne, I did not know that you were going to be here. I'm so happy to see you. I still have Corinne's artwork in my classroom from the year that I worked with her. But anyway, I'm so happy that I'm leaving, loving my profession, but I wouldn't love it as much if I didn't have a wonderful principal, and all of my colleagues. We're in it together. We come to work. We work hard, we laugh at the end of the day, and I know that the friendships that I have will continue. But thank everybody, because we have a great school district, and I've really been privileged and honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
I brought tissue.
So I have the distinct honor about talking about
The camera's over there, I'm gonna get over here. I know how this works.
Marianne, and this is so symbolic of Marianne never wanting to be in the limelight, right? But Marianne has, I will just say personally, been just such a leader in this district. And Marianne has been at the Pierce School since she was hired as an assistant principal in January of 2010, and then was named principal in July of 2013. When she was originally hired after her role as an English teacher and department leader in North Kingstown, Narragansett was fortunate to hire a widely respected and talented educator. Marianne had been named Teacher of the Year in North Kingstown in 2004, and was also a finalist for State Teacher of the Year. Her principal, in his recommendation from North Kingstown, stated that she is a consummate professional, well-liked and respected by her peers. She will continue to make a difference in students' lives as an administrator, just as she has done as a teacher. Marianne's professor from her educational leadership classes, it was really fun, stated, we'll leave that out. Marianne's professor from her educational leadership classes stated, Marianne is empathetic and giving. She has a warm and unthreatening sense of humor. She looks for the best in all whom she encounters. She will engender trust and buy-in. Where she leads, others will follow. Well, Marianne has lived up to that early recognition of her talent and far more. It takes a special person to not only know, but also to love middle schoolers. These early adolescents are unique in their motivations, their challenges, successes, and their needs, and Marianne has been their biggest supporter, advocate, and cheerleader since she arrived at the Pierce School. As Marianne describes it, the Middle Earth of Pierce School is a place where magic really does happen in the classroom every day. And that magic doesn't happen by accident. Marianne takes the time to know each family and student, to resolve problems before something becomes a big, major issue, to keep the goal of student learning and healthy development in the forefront at all times. Whenever I go to Pierce School, Marianne is rarely in her office. She is with kids. She is on the playground. She is in the cafeteria. She is in a class. She is always with her students and with her teachers. She's a fierce advocate for her school, and she partners with her teachers and support staff to ensure all adults in the community have the knowledge and skills to help the kids that are in their care. She can understand the perspective of a family member, a student, or a staff member because she takes the time to truly listen, not just hear them. And she makes decisions and takes action with a sense of purpose and a sense of empathy that's bolstered also by her own experience as a parent. Mary Ann's leadership over the last 2 years, we couldn't have done it without her. She's been nothing short of remarkable, and it's really been a capstone to a truly remarkable career. Throughout the pandemic, she's led by example through innovation, effort, attention to detail, compassion, a deep love of masks and gloves. Her collaborative approach has ensured that students and staff have a safe and welcoming place at Peer. And one of my favorite pandemic memories is, and I think it was Peg as well, Mary Ann, no words, just sent me a picture of her in an entire bubble suit, head to toe covered. And she's like, I think she says, always focused on teaching and learning. So I will personally miss Mary Ann's sense of humor, her commitment to students, her insights and advice, and most of all, working with her every day. As the consummate educator, Mr. Rogers, said, often when you're at the end of something, you're at the beginning of something else. And Mary Ann has lots of something else's to begin. She's moving on to a new beginning and new adventures with her family, with her friends literally sailing away, and most importantly, with her grandchildren. So I'm grateful for all that she has given to Narragansett, and she will be sorely missed, so congratulations.
So remember, I started crying at budget workshop. Okay, just keep that in mind, so I will try. It's been, yeah, here she goes. I did put Kleenex in my pocket. So it's been a great and a wonderful opportunity to work here, and particularly to work with the school community. This body has been so supportive of everything that we try to do. I just know that you give us the room and the space to be creative and to take risks and to think about things differently for kids. Sometimes, mostly it works out, but when it doesn't, it's okay, what did we learn from that, and what can we do moving forward? So I really want to thank you. I've always felt like every decision I made or anything that we did as a community, that you would always have our back. And that is a unique thing, I think, in communities. So thank you for that. As far as the Narragansett community, parents have just been terrific. I always tell staff, it's, if you have an upset parent, that's a great opportunity. Something went awry, let's figure it out, let's all learn from it, and let's move forward. It's nothing to be worried about. It's a great thing that's we're going to learn something from this. So, and working with the parents, I think, we don't always agree, but we always certainly move forward, and we're all stronger, and we communicate because of it. I think I've always strived to be really open and communicative with parents, and I always prefer a phone call over an email. So, and I think that has really strengthened our community. And as far as the staff at the Peer School, I mean, it's family. It's been really a wonderful experience, and I'm very happy to be leaving, loving it as I left teaching. When I left teaching, I was like, what am I doing? I love this. This is my thing. And I arrived at the Peer School as a middle school assistant principal from a high school English teacher. How did that happen? And yet, the wondrous things that did happen. It was just that right next thing to do for me. And it brought me all of this wonderful experience. And I know that now it is equally difficult to leave now because I love it. But I know it is that right next thing. And I don't know what that's going to be, and that's pretty exciting. at this point in my life. So thank you all very much. It's been an honor to work here.
So I had a few words I wanted to add, and if any other committee members want to add something, and then we'll do a recess before we go to the rest of the business meeting. So I want to talk a little bit about Mary Ann first, then I want to kind of say some other things too. So I've been trying to think about what I wanted to say, because I know Diane and I were on the committee that hired you. And right from the beginning with Kathy Sapala, when she got you here from North Kingstown, I know right away we're like, wow, like this is good. This was, we've got to get this assistant principal in. And, you just wowed us right from the beginning. As assistant principal, that was such an easy decision for us to move you up as principal. And so since then, we've only had the opportunity to see you at the podium giving school reports or presenting, recommendations for curriculum resources or some data digs, and then in smaller work sessions for the budget. But every time you come to the microphone to speak or you're upstairs, you're so articulate and poised and calm and professional and smart, and it's just, that's what you want to see in a great leader, but then the passion that comes through when you're talking about the school reports and all the activities, and your dedication and hard work and how proud you are of your students and your staff. Like that just comes through in every presentation you give, every conversation that you have. It's just been such a pleasure. That's everything you want in a school leader. You want them to have all those other attributes. But then, you can see the passion, you can feel the passion. My kids were at the peer school when you were there, and every time I saw you, whether it was an open house or whatever the event was, you can just feel that dedication and the passion and just love for middle school kids. So that's great. So just, we wish you the best. It's going to be really hard shoes to fill, and we just appreciate you and value you and thank you. So I'm going to clap again for you. And before I be quiet, I just want to say, to all the retirees, it's really bittersweet every June when we have this, because we're happy for people and we want to celebrate you and honor you, but it's such a loss to Narragansett every time a retiree comes, and it's really great to hear the story of, interesting little snippets from their resume, but really to hear the principals really talk about your service and your dedication and your caring. It's such a big loss for Narragansett every time a staff member at every building moves on to another thing. And we're just really grateful, and we do appreciate you guys taking the time to come too. We really do like to hear about all the service that you gave, and just really, thank you so much. We wish you the best, but a big thank you to everyone who's retiring tonight. So thank you all. I don't know if anyone else wanted to say anything. Josh? Thank you.
So I wish I knew all of you better than I do. What I heard tonight, though, was a true love for what you do. And so I truly believe in the journey. I feel like I'm still on my journey, and we know that those journeys never really end. But I appreciated in your messaging the clarity and the love for the service that you provide to our children. So Mary Ann, I got to know you as that parent. And I appreciated learning to parent as well from you, learning to be an educator, a school leader, and a parent from that partnership. And that's what we crave as parents. We want to build a solid partnership in these experiences, and we had that from those of you that I do know in our journey and the journey that we're still on as parents of kids in the district. So not to single too many people out, but I have two more I just want to say. Mrs. Adams, we still have some of your art pieces and Harry Potter gifts and some of the trinkets that you've shared with Luke and Maeve. Yes, and so we've appreciated your love for the kids and for what you do. But I'm also going to call out Carla. I took your picture, and I'm texting Kara, being like, your mom is awesome. She's amazing, because you really are. Sitting here thinking about you, I've known you now for 26 years. And that journey, too, has been pretty spectacular. And I believe what Marianne said about the perfect blend of head and heart, firm and fair, even with me as your child's coach, firm and fair, but as the person who served our children. Both of my children are so uniquely different from each other, and you recognize every child for who they are. My daughter through your leadership, my son through your inspiring in math and as a human. It's the same that you raise your children. I know you as a mom, and I know you as a teacher, and that overlap is beautifully inspiring every time. So I want to thank you. And I want to thank everyone else here as well who is retiring for the service that you've committed. This district is what it is because of what you've done. Thank you.
I just want to thank every principal, to Pete, and everyone else for sharing their reflections and on your time here in Narragansett. As a former student, I understand in many ways the hard work and sacrifices you've all made. Your years of guidance, leadership, lessons, unwavering support, and true mariner spirit will, I know, had a great impact on my life, and I know every other student who had the privilege of knowing each of you. In many ways, I grew up with you, and I credit that I am who I am today because of you. Thank you.
Just one thing. Do we have to accept these retirements?
Well, thank you all. We are going to take a brief recess, and then we'll get back into the regular meeting. All right, are we all set? Okay. So we're going to jump back into the meeting. And it is now time for the oral reports with the school committee. And Alex, would you like to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
On Thursday, May 26th, the diversity team met for its final meeting of the 2021-2022 school year. We reviewed our goals and action steps. We had discussions on how to define diversity, equity, inclusion, and awareness. We also reviewed the student survey answers from SurveyWorks that was administered as a student's reflection on their school experience in grades 3 through 12. On Thursday, June 2nd, the health and wellness team met for their final meeting of the school year. The community garden at the elementary school is flourishing. The nutrition subcommittee had their meeting on Monday at the school garden. Narragansett Elementary School students participated in Health and Wellness Week from May 16th through the 20th. One of the many activities included making positive Post-its, which were hung up on each classroom door. The staff room also had music playing each day, and wellness quotes were hung up around the school. The Pierce School successfully held a smoothie bike event. Smoothies were passed out to kids during all lunches, and everyone had a terrific time. A focus group of 15 students at the elementary school were provided with different menu items and menu options to try out for the next school year. I would like to extend a very special thank you to everyone who attended one of the diversity team, health and wellness, district technology, and SEL committee meetings. Your input and participation were very much appreciated. We all learned from each other and grew together. I look forward to working with everyone again in the fall, and I hope everyone enjoys their summer off. Last week, I attended the Narragansett Senior Awards Night at Quidnessett Country Club and the Narragansett High School graduation at the University of Rhode Island with everyone else. It was wonderful to see each senior recognized and their hard work paid off. Congratulations to all graduating seniors and their parents who were there with them every step of the way. Thank you to everyone who helped put this wonderful tradition back on for our graduating seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane?
On Tuesday, I attended the new Narragansett Transition Academy's luncheon, and the students made a wonderful lunch, and it was great to meet the students and to learn more about our new Narragansett Transition Academy, which is off to a great start.
Thank you, Diane. All right, so we're on to the superintendent's report. Pete?
Great. So I just have a couple of very brief updates. So obviously, as several of the committee members mentioned, we had great graduation last week. So we were really proud of our 125 graduating seniors, so congratulations to them. Our moving up ceremonies for our grade 4 students and our grade 8 students will be on the last day of school, which is June 22nd. And so we are looking forward to that, and that's a big celebration, and we're all really grateful to be able to do that in person this year. I do want to just share a very brief update with our auditorium construction. So we've been working closely with our owner's project manager as well as with the architect. So we have had our construction plans submitted to RIDE, and those have been approved. So we're very excited for that. And so we are working to go out to bid, we hope, by the end of this month. So that is going forward. The music and arts departments have been deeply involved in the design, and so they are very excited for the renovations that will be happening, including reworking the lighting, reworking the HVAC, all new seating, all new curtains. The stage is going to be brighter and easier to see. The ramps will be far more accessible. So it really is a total kind of gut it and redo it. And so we're excited for that. Once we have some digital images, we will kind of put those out for the public to see. And we are excited to see where the bidding take us. We anticipate that bids will be coming in towards the end of July. And at that time, we'll be finalizing our construction timeline. We do anticipate that will be kind of starting in August, going through the fall, and we hope to be done between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Thank you. Any questions for Pete? All right, thanks, Pete. Okay, so we are moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve consent agenda items CA1A, CA1B, CA2A, CA2B, and CA2C?
So moved?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the budget report. Karen?
Okay, expenditures for the 11 months ended May 31st, total $25,710,042, and that's 77.42% of our budget. And then the expenditures and encumbrances for the same period, total $30,342,431, and that is 91.37% of our budget. And we will hopefully save some to fund future projects.
Squirrel away, as they say.
Squirrel away.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen. All right, so we're moving on to school committee business item number 1. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance and administration to approve an additional amount of up to $269,688 to be transferred to the OPEB fund by June 30th, 2022?
So moved?
Discussion?
So this is an amount, if you will recall, and I will have Karen chime in where necessary. During our budget debates, we informed you that during the budget process, we received an updated request from the auditors around what it would take to fully fund our OPEB liability. So Karen has been examining our expenditures for this year. As you just heard, there is the possibility that we will have some surplus revenue or surplus funding by the end of the year that could be transferred into the OPEB account. It would be, to fully fund it, it would be $269,688. We hope to have that much or close to it to transfer in to fully fund the recommended amount from this year. Anything you want to add to that, Karen?
No, that's pretty much what it is. And we thought that it would be best to try to start funding it fully. We've been putting in about $400,000 a year just to really cover the current costs. But if we can start funding the future costs, that would help reduce that future liability and help also the town has, it affects their bond rating, and the more that we have in that funding, the better, better they will have when they do their bond rating.
Are there any questions for Pete or for Karen? Diane?
I was just curious, the chart that you were given, you gave us says retiree health benefits, and in the letter, the OPEB seems to also cover, along with health, dental, and teacher life insurance. So are the numbers on the chart also include the dental and the?
Yeah, I think when they say health, they mean all of them, the dental, the healthy, and the life. I know that they do. It's the whole liability is the health benefit, the dental, and the life insurance, the teacher life insurance.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Pete or for Karen? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. For the next item, we are voting on 2 separate contracts, so we're going to just pull those apart and do them one at a time. So first, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance and administration to approve the contract for the director of student services for 2022 to 2025?
So moved?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And then next, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance administration to approve the contract for the communications and administrative services manager for 2022 to 2025?
So moved?
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And I just want to add, now that we voted on those, We are really, really grateful and appreciative and fortunate of the hard work and dedication of those two individuals, and we are very pleased to give them a new 3-year contract. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay. The last business item, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the updated teacher contract for 2022 to 2025?
So moved.
Discussion? And we do have a copy in our packet. So does anyone have any questions before we vote? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And I just want to say thank you for serving on the negotiations committee. So that was Diane and Josh? Yes. And I didn't know if either of you wanted to just make any comments about the process or anything that you wanted to share now that that's wrapped up at all.
I'll just briefly. I really appreciated your leadership, Peter, in guiding these conversations. I also appreciated the relationship that was evident between you and the union leadership. Oftentimes, that's not as collegial and as cooperative, but the work that you're putting in and the work that they're putting in to maintain that solid relationship was clearly evident. And through the process, I felt that both sides were really looking out for what is right for this community. It wasn't a one-sided pressure. It was actually amazing to witness as a person who has been part of other places that were not so well structured and well done in the right positive manner. And I appreciate that and feel it needs to be noted that the two sides of leadership were really well represented.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Josh. And we do work hard on maintaining a positive relationship. The Teachers Association and before that, our support staff, I think really do believe that in their mission, and I think you heard it here tonight, in doing good things for the children of Narragansett. And I think they are appreciative of the support of the committee. I'm appreciative of their willingness to partner with the school leadership to make sure that the conditions for teaching and learning are all in the right place, and that's what it's all about.
And I'm, very grateful that it's definitely hard when both contracts, they kind of sunset in the same cycle. So the fact that we're here in June and we have successfully negotiated and voted on both the support union contract and the teacher's contract, and we're done by June, it speaks to that relationship. It speaks to being proactive in the hard work of you, Pete, and Karen, and the administrators that helped you, and the school committee members that had to serve on 2 back-to-back negotiating subcommittees. So the fact that we're going into the summer with both of those, fair for both parties, good for the town, but most importantly, good for students. So, but the fact that we're done in June really speaks volumes, because the last thing we want to do is still be kind of stuck at a negotiating table in August when all of our energies should be focused on getting ready to open school and welcome the students back. So really happy. So thank you, Pete. And we did vote, right? We voted first, and then I made my comment. Okay. All right. So any communications anyone wants to mention? So I will say for July, we're not going to have a regular televised July school committee meeting here. Instead, we're going to have a workshop that is upstairs. But I wanted to talk about the date and make a suggestion. We had a tentative date of July 13th. And Pete, would you be available if we moved that a week later to July 20th, which would be the regular third Wednesday?
Yes, no problem.
And can we talk about the time that would be best for everyone? Would it be better, I'm looking at some of the folks that work late, is a 6 o'clock time better than a 5 o'clock time in the summer? Doesn't matter to me. I didn't know if, what's the earliest that would work for Justin and Josh and Alex, I think you and I are a little more flexible in the summer. So so throw out a time.
I don't really I don't really have a preference, so it's up to you two.
5 o'clock works for me.
You can do 5 in the summer? Yeah. Okay, I like 5 better. Pete, you can do 5? Okay, so that will be upstairs? Yes. Okay. And if we, I know we've got some possible pending appointments, so we may need to do a very short special meeting, perhaps next week on either Monday or Wednesday, TBD. I think either date would work if we had to have a really short special meeting just to appoint someone to a position, Monday or Wednesday. And if that was next week, would that be a 6 o'clock start time? That would be best for people for a very short. If it's next week for a very quick appointment, do you need 6?
No, I can do 5.
Okay. Okay, all right, so looks like we could probably do 5 for a quick.
Monday or Wednesday.
Okay, all right. So with that, if there isn't anything else, is there a motion to adjourn at 8:27?
So moved?
All in favor?